Hey folks, picture this. A regular grandma, well into her 60s, tells her family, "I'm going for a walk," and then vanishes to trek 2,200 miles through wild mountains, dense forests, raging rivers. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? Nope. This is the real-life story of Emma Gatewood, better known as Grandma Gatewood. She wasn't some hardcore survivalist or Arctic explorer, just a tough-as-nails woman from Ohio who proved that age, a rough past, and zero fancy gear couldn't stop her from chasing big adventures.
Let's dive into her story step by step, like we're chatting over coffee. This isn't just a bunch of facts. It's a lesson in grit that'll inspire anyone. If you're into hiking or just love stories about people who refuse to quit, drop a comment. Would you dare to try something like this? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. More epic stories about real heroes are coming your way. Emma Gatewood, born Caldwell, came into the world on October 25, 1887, in a tiny town in Gallia County, Ohio. She grew up in a massive family, 15 kids. Can you imagine the chaos? Her dad was a farmer, but after losing a leg in the Civil War, he turned to drinking and gambling, making life even tougher. Their home was a cramped log cabin where 4 kids shared one bed, and school ended after just 8 grades. That was the reality of rural life back then, but Emma didn't complain. From a young age, she pitched in on the farm, hauling firewood, milking cows, tending livestock. That work toughened her up, building the endurance she'd need later. Books were her escape. She devoured stories about the wilderness, learning about plants you could eat or use as medicine. That knowledge would save her more than once. There's even a joke about her childhood. Emma was hauling heavy stuff as a kid. That's why the trail was like a stroll in the park for her later. Those early years taught her how to survive anything and showed her the beauty of nature, which would become her sanctuary. In 1907, at just 19, Emma married Percy Clayton Gatewood, a schoolteacher. It seemed like a solid match. Educated folks were rare in rural Ohio. But the reality was brutal. Percy turned out to be a cruel abuser who started beating her soon after the wedding. He caused serious injuries, broken jaws, cracked ribs, knocked out teeth. When she couldn't take it anymore, Emma fled to the woods, spending days or even weeks finding peace among the trees and plants. Yet she raised 11 children with him. Why didn't she leave sooner? Back in the early 20th century, divorce was a complicated, almost scandalous process, especially in small towns. Emma held on for her kids, working the farm and raising them single-handedly. In 1939, after another brutal fight, Percy got her arrested, and she landed in jail. But the town's mayor, seeing her with missing teeth and a broken rib, bailed her out and helped her find work. She finally filed for divorce in September 1940 and won it in February 1941 after testifying against Percy in court. But he didn't stop. He even tried to have her committed to an asylum. Imagine her strength. 33 years of abuse, 11 kids to raise alone, and she still didn't break. People say the forest was her therapy, helping her heal from the trauma. A journalist later quipped, "Emma escaped her husband to the woods, and the woods became her home, not a prison." By the 1950s, Emma's kids had grown up and moved on. She was a grandma to 24 grandchildren and a great-grandma to 30 great-grandkids. A true family matriarch. Now in her 60s, she lived a quiet life, rocking chair, reading magazines. Then one day, she stumbled across an old issue of National Geographic from August 1949, featuring a story about the Appalachian Trail, the world's longest hiking trail, stretching 2,200 miles from Mount Katahdin in Maine to Springer Mountain in Georgia, crossing 14 states. The idea came from architect Benton Mackay in 1921, but the trail was only fully marked in 1948. The first person to hike it end-to-end was a guy named Earl Schaefer, who took 6 months. The trail was no joke. Rugged mountains, grizzly bears, rattlesnakes, raging rivers, and unpredictable weather. Emma was hooked by the vivid photos and description, but what really lit a fire under her was a line claiming, "It seems no woman will ever complete it." That was like a personal challenge. Her grandkids later joked, "Grandma read that women couldn't do it and thought, oh yeah, Watch out, bears and snakes. Would you take on a challenge like that at her age? Share your boldest moments in the comments. I'd love to hear them. In July 1954, at 66, Emma made her first attempt. She started from the north at Keds with no hiking experience or proper gear, thinking her grit and good health would be enough. A few days in, she got lost, broke her glasses, and ran out of food. Rangers found her and convinced her to go home. Emma didn't tell a soul about the failure. She just quietly regrouped and planned her next try. That's a classic lesson. A setback isn't the end. It's a chance to learn. Would you keep going after a flop like that? Drop your comeback stories in the comments. The next year, at 67, Emma told her family, "I'm going for a walk." She didn't spill the details. Her kids and grandkids didn't worry, knowing her stubborn streak. That's when her big adventure began. On May 3, 1955, she started from the south at Springer Mountain, Georgia, heading north. The National Geographic article had painted a rosy picture: smooth paths and cozy shelters every night. So Emma packed light. Her gear became legendary in the hiking world. No backpack. She sewed a simple sack from old denim to sling over her shoulder. Inside, an old army blanket, a sweater, a jacket, a scarf, a light wool jacket for sleeping, a plastic shower curtain, used as a tent and rain shield, 2 water bottles, a hat, a raincoat, a flashlight, a Swiss Army knife, a small mug, matches, band-aids, antiseptic, pins, hair clips, thread, needles, soap, and a towel. Between food resupplies in rare towns, her bag weighed just 13 to 20 pounds. Ultralight for the time. For shoes, no heavy hiking boots, just simple Keds sneakers. She wore out 7 pairs, lost 30 pounds, and took about 5 million steps. She ate simply: nuts, cheese, beef jerky, and her beloved Vienna sausages. She later joked, "Those sausages got me to the end." In the woods, she foraged berries, sorrel, and mint, and locals sometimes shared food with hikers. But don't think this was a walk in the park. The trail threw everything at her. Steep mountains, thick forests crawling with grizzly bears. She even came face to face with them but stayed calm. Rattlesnakes hissed underfoot, rivers had to be forded, and the weather swung from scorching heat to pouring rain and freezing cold. When she couldn't find a shelter, she slept in piles of fallen leaves. On chilly nights, she warmed flat stones in a fire to use as a makeshift heater. When food ran out, she relied on her plant knowledge to eat what the forest offered. In a Sports Illustrated interview, she said, "I was sold on the pretty pictures in National Geographic and thought it'd be a fun lark. But it's no trail. It's a nightmare. For some reason, it takes you over the biggest rock to the top of the tallest mountain they could find." Despite it all, Emma averaged 22 miles a day, an incredible feat for her age. In 146 days, she covered 2,168 miles across 14 states and several mountain ranges. When she reached Keds, she became the first woman to hike the Appalachian Trail solo. The media went wild: magazine articles, TV show invites. People were stunned. A 67-year-old grandma with barely any gear conquered what was thought impossible for women. But Emma wasn't done. In 1957, at 69, she hiked the Appalachian Trail again, noting it was in better shape thanks to local hiking clubs' cleaning and marking sections. In 1959, at 71, inspired by the Oregon Centennial Exposition, she tackled the Oregon Trail, 2,000 miles solo, following the path of pioneer women from a century earlier. From Indianapolis to Portland, she did it in 3 months, again averaging 22 miles a day. Imagine. While most folks her age stayed home, she was trekking through prairies and mountains. In 1964, at 76, Emma hiked the Appalachian Trail a 3rd time, becoming the first person ever to complete it 3 times and earning the title of the oldest female hiker. On a popular TV show, she was asked, "What does it take to hike 2,200 miles?" She grinned and said, "Grab a raincoat, a backpack, a good pair of shoes, and some Vienna sausages. You'll find the rest along the way." Until her death on June 4, 1973, at 85, Emma kept hiking and marking new trails. Sections of the Appalachian Trail were named after her, and she inspired countless articles and books, like Ben Montgomery's Grandma Gatewood's Walk Dash, which dives into how her tough past made her unstoppable. She became an icon for thru-hikers, those who tackle ultra-long trails, and ultralight hikers. Emma is considered the grandmother of ultralight hiking. Back then, hiking in sneakers with a denim sack instead of a heavy backpack was revolutionary, but her success showed that less is more. Her story reshaped hiking, pushing people toward minimalism and lighter gear. Folks, Emma's story screams one thing: it's never too late to start, no matter how hard life's been. She survived a nightmare at home but found freedom and strength in nature, becoming a pioneer of ultralight hiking. What drives you to chase adventures? Share your stories in the comments, maybe your first hike or how you overcame a fear. If this inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe. We'll keep bringing you stories of heroes like Emma.